We are live on Facebook by the looks of it. We are live on Zoom. As people are coming on, if you could just put in the comments, say where you're from. If you currently have a business, please put what revenue you currently are at and the goal that you're currently working towards. We're going to give it a few seconds just to get started. Sorry, I'm a little bit late jumping on. A few technical problems. Hopefully my internet connection's okay. It seems a little bit shaky. Hey Chris, hey Jerry, hope you're both doing well. Hey Tracy. So I'm going to be going between Zoom. I'll be checking any questions that you guys have. Post them in the comments on Facebook. If you are on the Zoom feed, be sure to put them in the chat box there. We're literally going to be covering tonight. I'm going to try and go through as much as possible, but we're going to be covering my journey, like where I've come from, and that kind of thing, like who I am, what I do, what I've done before. But also we're going to then start to touch on mindset, a little bit of business mindset and just mindset in general. We're going to work through, as I've said in a lot of the marketing before this, how to identify your ideal client. And then we're going to talk through a few things. So high ticket, what is it? Why am I so passionate about it as the best method to build your business, business structure, and also being able to get started right now. Like how you can start to generate revenue today if you want to. And it really can be as quick as that to be able to turn high ticket on and move it forward. So hey guys, this is jumping on. So this is for fit pros and coaches, personal trainers, anybody looking to really establish themselves as an online business. As you're jumping on, put where you're from in the comments. If you already have an online business, put your current revenue and your revenue goals. So I'm gonna get started by talking a little bit about my journey. So for the last 15 years or so, I actually I've worked in a sales environment, and until just a couple of years ago, I was in a completely unrelated field. It was sales, it was business sales, but I owned and managed recruitment agencies. And we built a range of businesses. If I go back, I built a home-based lifestyle business, which was a six-figure business. And then most recently, we built a seven-figure business. Myself and a small team, in the space of our first year, we generated over 1.2 million in sales from a zero start. So I'm used to building businesses. I got to a point where I'm a dad. I've got 5 kids. I've got a wife. And I got to a point where I was really sick and tired of the grind of leaving the house really early, getting home really late, never being able to really enjoy family life, really. So I ended up looking into other avenues. I was always passionate about health and fitness after losing over 100 pounds in weight myself. And I really wanted to see, is this something that could be sustainable? I already had a very good level of income. I was supporting, like I say, a family with 5 kids. My wife, we have a house, a mortgage, just like everybody else. We have bills to pay. So I couldn't just go and follow my passion and not get paid an equivalent amount for it. I invested very heavily in myself in business training, and it all started with the very first program that I went through. For those of you in the fitness community that are watching this, you will no doubt have been bombarded by his adverts. A guy called Tanner Chidester with his Elite CEOs program. So I went through his elite level program. That was the very first program that I went through. It was a big investment. It was a shock at the amount of money that was available in this industry, and it immediately made me incredibly hungry to move forward. And I think obviously Tanner, it's his program, it's his business, but I think a big shout out needs to go to his brother Benson, who does an incredible job on the fulfillment side of things. And from that moment, I went through that program. We got to the end of the 3 months. The business was already at that point. We went from 0 to 10K a month. So it was an established business. At that point, we were leaning very heavily on Facebook ads at the very, very beginning. And although that for some people, that's fine. For me, having built several businesses before, I was quite concerned because I'm risk adverse. And I suggest a lot of people, if you're looking to build a business, you focus on being risk adverse, because if all of a sudden Facebook ads vanished, well, you're screwed. if your Facebook ad accounts get shut down, you could go open another one, but it's a hell of an inconvenience and it causes big problems. And I learned that firsthand when my Facebook page, my ad account got shut down. I went from thinking that I'd just created the new thing that was going to allow me to exit a career that I'd spent 15 years building, to all of a sudden having no way to communicate with people. My ads got switched off, my revenue fell through the floor, and all of a sudden I got quite worried and, to be honest, quite scared. So I wanted to learn how to do organic marketing, which up until that point, I had kind of neglected the importance of it because I had some money to invest into ads. And I thought that ads were the secret ticket to success. Yes, Facebook ads do make you money. I'm not here to say they don't. And I do think they play an important part inside of a business, but I don't necessarily think they should be the first thing you do. They shouldn't be something that you do until the business can pay for them itself. And then it's a case of we use it to pour petrol upon the fire. But anyway, I digress. I carried on then, and I wanted to go off and explore what other coaches were out there. So I did a bit of research into who were some really good coaches in the industry. Stumbled across, at the time, the group was called Smartest Guys in Marketing. They've since rebranded it to their company name, Traffic and Funnels. And this is where a lot of high ticket coaches get their training. It's kind of like the original place, in my opinion anyway. And the guys that set it up, Taylor Welch, Chris Evans, the content that's in there, again, is fantastic. It was another big investment in myself to really build the organic side of the business. And I think a lot of the time, everyone looks at the main owner of the business and they get a lot of the credit for the program and that kind of thing. But again, like, you have to give credit to the coaches who were actually in there, in the masterclasses, in the weekly sessions where you learn those things. And it's the proximity to people that really make the difference inside of these programs. So Taylor's brother, Peyton, fantastic at sales. Alex Navas, absolutely incredible guy. I learned so much from a lot of people. There's too many to even name, to be honest. From that point, I then started to really get organic marketing working well. It took a little while. I failed miserably time and time again. The key thing is that you stand back up and you go again. So at that point, I had a good understanding of organic marketing. I had a good understanding of Facebook ads and how to move things forward. I now just wanted to start to work on the small parts of my business. So I went through another couple of programs. So I went through a program with a guy called Cole Gordon, some really good sales stuff in there. Not necessarily my cup of tea. The guy's incredibly intelligent with some really good tactics. But for me, I still felt something was missing. So I ended up joining a mastermind group with a guy called Grant Cardone. In the UK, he's not really that well known. The US, he's a massive person. He's a real estate guy, a sales guy. He's got nearly 2 billion in real estate. He's a sales trainer, started in the automotive industry. And for me, that was when the penny finally dropped. Everything then fell perfectly into place. And I've since leveraged a lot of his programs. I'm an official licensee to sell his programs as well. So it was really a case of, I've invested heavily, like thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds, dollars, yen, or millions of yen into my own development over the last year or so. And it's something that I think that is incredibly important. So for me, I had a fitness business that was doing well. And at this point, like I say, the fitness business was doing above 10,000 a month. And I was at a point where I sold my other business. I sold the shares of my recruitment business back to the other partners. I said to them I no longer wanted to be involved in it. And at the turn of the year, I was completely free from that industry, which felt quite scary, but also quite liberating. And it was at that point that I really wanted to follow my passion of helping on the business side. Running businesses and launching businesses is something that it's just something that I really love and I enjoy. I love getting in with my clients. I love getting into sessions with them where we can really pull their business apart, find which cog is not working right, crank it up, put it back together and make it go again. It's something about it that really excites me. So being here tonight with you guys is something that I really love. There's going to be no replay of this. I'm going to leave this on my Facebook feed for 24 hours. So this time tomorrow, I'll be pulling the replay and I'll be deleting this video. And this is something that I want to package up to offer out at a paid price to other people down the line. So I genuinely plan on delivering a lot of value this evening. So please make sure you've got a pad. Please make sure you've got a pen. Get a glass of water. If you need to go to the loo, now's the time to go, because we're about to get started into lots of stuff. So business coaching wise, I focus predominantly, not solely, but predominantly working with fitness professionals, personal trainers, fitness coaches, whatever the title, people inside of nutrition, health, mindset, wellness, fitness, who are looking to develop an online business. This is the area that I really want to focus on at the moment. And the process works across all industries, but this is an area that I feel I can add the most value at this very moment in time. And I think one of the first things that we have to get really clear on is mindset. A lot of people come into business and they're like, I'm going to become a millionaire. I'm going to be a baller. It's going to be amazing. And they neglect their mindset. They come in with this hype and this, yeah, it's going to be great, but they don't necessarily know the hard work that lays ahead. And when things start to get tough, people fold really quickly. People think online is going to be a pipe dream, something that's really a really easy thing to do. And although there's lots to be made, lots of money to be made online, it doesn't mean it's easy. It's not get rich quick. It is a case of you need to build a business and you need to make sure you build it correctly from day one. I see so many people trying to build their business backwards where they ultimately end up becoming a slave to their business. Because you have to look at this. If you can make your business make £1 million or $1 million, well, that's great. But if you can't be free from the business to spend that money or to enjoy your life or to live how you want to live, it's nothing more than a golden pair of handcuffs. Like, you have to make sure that you have the mindset ready that your purpose is to serve, but your business needs to serve you. You don't serve your business. You work on your business, not in your business. And at first, when you start to build the business, you do need to put a lot of time in. You have to wear a lot of hats. You have to be everything at first until you can start to outsource things. But the sooner you can start to outsource things, the sooner you can start to offload parts of it, the parts that don't directly generate revenue. And even when you can get to a point where you can start to offload some of the revenue tasks to people inside of your team, well, that's where you start to really create freedom, because freedom's a really important thing that a lot of people overlook. And when you're in business, I think it's very easy to feel like you have to do everything because you want it done your way and the correct way. And this is something I've had to learn the hard way, that you want to empower other people to be able to do things. You want them to give them barriers. And this is something that I learned on a coaching session not that long ago, actually. It's just something you need to be able to give them barriers to be able to allow other people to work inside of them so that you can get the freedom to go do what you're best at, to really add value to your business and create a wider brand and really build the business up. But you want to make sure that you're allowing and empowering other people to know that they have room to make mistakes. They don't have to be perfect, but they can only do things inside of a certain set of barriers. And I think if we go right back to the very beginning of building a business, this can become quite a lonely process. If you're working from home, or you maybe have rented a small piece of someone's office, you end up in this situation where it's just you, yourself, and I. And that can be quite a lonely feeling. And I think it's really important to make sure you get the mindset side of this really nailed on at a really early point and come up with a very good morning process, a process that allows you to be empowered, to be focused on the goal ahead, to make sure that you're ready to attack each day. So I say to all of my business clients, the first person that you have to sell every day is you. You have to sell yourself on the reason you're here. What's your purpose? What is your mission? Because money is only going to take you so far. There has to be more. What does this money represent? What are you striving to get from it? Are you looking to have a gigantic house? Are you looking to have things? Or are you looking to actually start to build wealth, like generational wealth? That means that your kids can do whatever they want to do. They can go build houses in third world countries and give back to the world. Do you want to be able to donate to your church or community or invest in other people's businesses? Do you want to be able to just wake up every morning and not feel the pressure of the bills? because everyone's got different motivators. And I think it's really important you understand your motivators and you package them into a morning formula. So a morning process. And there's lots of different ones available. If you've not done this kind of thing before, I suggest you start with something simple. Sometimes a couple of minutes just visualizing your goals. It's a great way to start. A process that I use on my fitness side, something called the wake process. Literally waking up without snoozing your alarm, gets you straight out of bed. Giving some appreciation to the world, big cup of water to get yourself hydrated so that your body comes back online properly. And then some effortless movement just to get the body awake, blood pumping, and getting yourself moving. Something even as simple as that, all the way through to really complex morning formula processes where you go through things. And there's a fantastic book called Psycho-Cybernetics. And this really talks about the theater of the mind and actually how powerful the mind can be. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. The author, what's his name? I think it's Maxwell Schwartz or something Schwartz. And it's available from Amazon, on Audible, all that kind of stuff. It's a book that was recommended to me. I read it. I think it's something it's a really good read for any entrepreneur looking to really develop some kind of morning formula and start to understand why they do things and how to improve on things. So it's really, really important that you have that morning formula. And what I would say next is that you need to make sure you lean into the fear. There's going to be lots of moments along the way where you're scared as hell. Right? You're worried about doing something because maybe some things might be a bit of a risk or a leap of faith. Or there's going to be those moments, that first sales call that you make, you're going to try and think of a million reasons as to why you shouldn't make the call. Just make the call. You've got to lean into the fear. See fear as the moment where something good is about to happen and run into it at full speed. Like, you need to be able to embrace fear. As long as you know there's no real danger there, you're not putting your life at risk or anything like that. Fear is a great indicator that you're about to grow. You're about to do something you've maybe never done before, and now you're about to grow and start to grow into it. Growth's painful. Like, growth can be really, really painful. And I think that's something that's not often said, is that a lot of people, and guys, if you have questions as we go through, just chuck them into the comments box and I will keep checking back to answer them as we go through. Like, growth is a really painful thing. You end up in a situation where a lot of people think growing a business is going to be nothing but win after win, success after success. And as much as there is lots of success and you always want to be trying to grow, and you always want to be trying to get the next success, it's always going to be moments that are really crap and really difficult to overcome. And you have to really grind through them. And that's part of the process, because we get drilled into this short-term mindset of looking at that moment and just one moment in time. And it's very easy to feel like that moment in time is never ending. Look at coronavirus as a prime example. We got locked down, felt like lockdown lasted forever. Like, it was a couple months. Put that into perspective of how old you are. Even if you're only 16 years old, or 20 years old, or 30 years old, it's a couple of months. It's a tiny percentage of your life, but yet it felt like forever. You need to start adjusting to a longer term view, and we need to start looking at creating trends. We need to create the positive trends, the positive growth, month after month after month after month. We don't have to go from 0 to 100K. We can go from 0 to 2K, to 8K, to 16K, to 32K. Like, we want to grow at a steady rate that's sustainable, that allows us to grow like when children grow. They go out, then up, out, then up. So you get fatter, then taller. And it's important that as a business, we do that. We grow financially, and then we shoot up by growing and building the structure of the business. And we bring people in, we bring frameworks in, we bring processes in to make sure the business builds properly as we go through. And a good thing that I think to keep in mind is the harder the action, the bigger the reward. If things you're doing are easy, chances are it probably isn't going to be that much of a reward. And there's a Jim Rohn quote, and I actually read this today. I was reading a newsletter that I get sent to me, and there was a Jim Rohn quote on there, which I thought was really quite apt for this. And it was, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." And I think that's a really powerful thing, in the sense of, like, Jim Rohn is an absolute legend, and he puts out, there's some really great stuff that you can get from Jim Rohn to really build yourself as a human being moving forward. But But it's true. Like, so often we always wish life was easier. We wish things were, money would just come. We wish this wouldn't have happened in life and that wouldn't have happened in life. But if you actually look at it from a different viewpoint and you just wish you were better, if you just rise to the challenge, things become easier. And then you've got new challenges in front of you, the next level, the next step. What is your next step? And that's the key. Really focus on the moment, understand where we're headed, focus on the moment, achieve the next step, and then keep going, keep moving forward. And I think anything that lasts long isn't easy, and anything that is easy doesn't last long. And I think that's it's quite a good way of looking at things. Like, we want to build a long-term business. We don't want to build a flash in the pan. I don't know, maybe you do want to build a flash in the pan, in which case go do something easy. But realistically, I believe most people, they want to build a business, they want to build freedom that lasts forever. So that's going to help not just them, but it's going to help their kids. It's going to build enough wealth to support their kids and their kids' kids, and maybe their kids' kids' kids. Because for me, I know, having 5 kids, I got some big bills coming, but more important than that, and I joke around about it, but genuinely, I sit down and I talk to my wife about it quite a lot, that for me, I want to build wealth. I want me and her to be the people in our family that were those people, the people who built generational wealth, that 3 or 4 generations from now look back and go, yeah, this is where it all changed for this family. Because I'm just from a normal British family. I grew up in the Southwest in Gloucestershire, and like I'm not born into wealth. I'm not born into success. Everything that I'm achieving in life is self-made, and I think it's a great thing to do. And I don't say any of that to boast or to brag, because there's nothing to brag about. It's a case of, I want you to know that no matter what you're doing or where you're from or what situation you're currently in, like, you can go and achieve it. And I think there's a spectrum that you can look at of, like, from survival all the way through to impact. So you've got survival, thriving, and impact. And I got this from the newsletter as well. I just thought I'd add it in because I found it quite interesting. And I think you can go a little bit further than what I read. And it was a case of, to start off with, you end up in a survival place where you're constantly fighting to just survive. And for those of you that don't know what the Maslow hierarchy is, this is something that I think is, it basically shares a very similar sentiment to it. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen and get the change the picture. Where is it? Hopefully that is, it's no good, is it? So what we're looking at, hopefully you guys can see it, but you can see that you start off in a survival place with the physiological needs, and then it moves up to the safety needs, to love and belonging, to esteem, and then like self-actualization, which is really thriving, really creating massive impact in the world. And this survival mode down here, you don't care about anything else other than paying the bills, having somewhere to sleep, making the money, living paycheck to paycheck. And then as you start to move through this and you go up to love and belonging and esteem, you start to get into really thriving. You start to really thrive inside of your environment. And it's something that allows you to really, like, you want more of it. Like, you want more and more and more until you get to a point where you create the success, you create the framework that it supports itself, that you can step away from it and it still runs. And at that point, you can go and create impact. At that point, it's about the lasting change, not just for yourself, but about other people around you. So how can you help others? How can you help people that don't have stuff? How can you help the people that you love? It no longer becomes about, how do I make money? How do I become successful? How do I do this for me? It becomes, how do I help the rest of everyone else? How can I give back to the world? And it's something that I think is really important. I'm going to touch on now ideal clients. Hopefully you guys are still awake, still with us. Like I say, any questions, dump them into the comments box below. It's great to see so many people jumping on. So ideal client, and this is something that I spend a lot of my time talking about with people. Your ideal client inside of online coaching. And the first thing that we need to get our head around is one person, one problem, one solution. And I literally say that a million times a day. It's one of the things I say the most: one person, one problem, one solution. Because when we're looking at high ticket, we need to start to niche down. We need to create a niche, but not just a small niche, but a micro niche. I believe that as more and more coaches have come online, as more and more people have started to move to online, especially with, like I say, coronavirus, things changed a lot. The things that were working last year and the year before, they might still work to some degree and they might work for some people. But I found that the more specific we can now get and really, really niche down to serving one person, because obviously if there's one person who has one problem, there's multiples of that person. Like, it's not just a case of we're only going to serve one person, because like, you're not going to make a business out of that. But the thing is, the message will then start to resonate with the shades of gray either side, and the people who are similar but not necessarily the same. Because what we need to do is, you need to imagine that online everyone's shouting, everyone wants to be heard. So I'm grateful for those of you that are live with me now, because you could be anywhere else right now. It's Saturday evening, and if you're in the US, Saturday afternoon, or maybe the late part of Saturday morning. But you could be anywhere else right now. You could be watching anyone else's live. You could be doing anything else in the world, but you're right here, which is I really appreciate. So we need to make sure that our marketing message stands out, so that when we shout, we're shouting to one person, and that person goes, oh, he's talking to me, or she's talking to me. Like, this is the start of what we need to do. So we need to first of all understand, what pains do this person have? Like, not just physical, because I know that's going to be the first thing. If we're looking at a fitness offer or weight loss offer or something like that, we're going to think of a physical pain. Oh, they need to lose weight. Okay, but go beyond that. What are the emotional pains? What are the financial pains? Like, what's stopping them? Like, how overweight is the person? How much do they need to change? And what are they not being able to go and achieve? Like, what pains do they feel every single day? And write them all down. You want to start to go deep on this. So some people are really good at zoning out. Personally, I'm not the greatest at it. So I need to break it down into sections. I need to put my music in. I need to go somewhere quiet. And I need to literally attack one question at a time and spend 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time at it. Write everything. Just literally just brain dump it all onto a piece of paper. Write it all out. Go away. Come back. Look at it. See if you can add to it. And this wants to start to become a working document for you, because the more you work with your demographic, the more you're going to start to learn, and the more about your ideal client, and the more you're going to be able to start to drill down further. Once you've got that one done, you want to start looking at, what do they believe? So what are their beliefs? Good beliefs, but also self-limiting beliefs or other beliefs. So what are the myths that they've heard that they believe? What are the maybe some of the false truths that they've heard? So, well, I'm big boned, I can't lose weight. It's not true. Like, well, I've got an underactive thyroid, so I can't lose weight. I don't have the time to do this. I definitely don't have the money. Money generally is a value problem. You have the money, you can create the money, you just don't see the value in making the change. And it's about understanding, what do they currently believe? Because we want to get into their head in a good way, in that when we market, it sounds, what the things we say align with their beliefs, align with the things that maybe they don't tell people, the things that go unspoken, or they maybe only tell their closest. And that requires research. So there's lots of tools available on Facebook, online, on Google, different trend tools and all that kind of stuff that you can use to really dig into that. And that's something that I spend a lot of time with clients going through, like really starting to flesh out, what does your rough copy of your ideal client, what do they like? Where do they go? What brands do they buy? Where do they shop? What are they looking at? What are they thinking? So that we can start to make a clearer marketing message. And we need to make sure that we get as clear on this as possible. Like, what one thing do they want above everything else? Like, what is that one thing, that one problem that if you could solve that, everything else would start to fall into line? Because if you can identify that and you can package that in a way that makes them go, yes, that's me. Like, that's something that I really need to fix. And I've tried and I've tried and I've tried and I just can't do it. If you can fix that problem, you've got a client for life. It's so important that you focus on the big problem. Obviously, we're going to fix other problems along the way, and these things are all going to be improved as part of what we're doing. But if you can identify that core problem, the core thing that's holding them back, that if you unlocked that and you fixed that, could help them fix that problem, it would start to open up all of these other parts of their life for them. That's what we're here to do. That's how you start to stand out yourself. And you need to start looking at, like, what's the biggest result that you can help somebody? Like, what's the biggest problem that this person has emotionally or financially? Or and you need to go into real detail. Like these kind of things, this kind of research element of it, it shouldn't be something that takes 5 or 10 minutes. This is something that you need to invest time into, and you need to come back to, and you need to keep doing. And I know I've gone over this, and I'm keep going over myself, but I can't stress enough the importance of laying a solid foundation. Like, and yes, you can go back and change this at a later date if you want, but if you don't give this the time that it deserves, you're going to end up in the boat that I see, unfortunately, so many people end up in. Even if you go and get some really expensive coaching from a really great coach, it doesn't matter. If you don't do this part right, the coach isn't going to do the work for you. This is on you. And like, this is your business. You have to build it. They will just, the coach just provides you with the tools to go and do it. Think of yourself as a PT or a fitness instructor. If you'll show people what to do. If they don't want to do it, you're not going to do it for them. And a business coach is no different. You have to want to do the work. You have to show up, and you have to commit. And these are the things that we need to understand about our ideal client, so that we can build an offer that they love, that sells. Because otherwise you end up in the situation like a million other people who are writing, I help busy professionals lose weight, click my bit.ly link to book a call with me. And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people who have that. Imagine if everyone does the same approach. If you were the consumer, you'd be like, oh, I could just go to any of these guys. So I guess it's not much of a skill. Probably isn't worth very much then. Oh, it's probably no different to just Beachbody on demand. I just go download that, or I just pop down for £5 to Slimming World. Like, if you want to do high ticket coaching and really help people transform their lives, because there's a lot of value inside of high ticket coaching that comes with the price, but you have to be able to understand, you have to demonstrate value, you have to differentiate yourself, you have to be able to align your goal and your message with the beliefs of your ideal client. It's so important. And now we need to start to work through, like, what frustrates your most ideal client. The great question is, what keeps them awake at night? What do they lay there worrying about? Like, genuinely, when they're laying there, what are they worried about? Because for me, for my ideal client inside of the fitness niche, they're worried about not seeing their grandkids grow up, not seeing their children grow up, setting a bad example, and the past happening all over again. And by the past, I mean the journey they've gone through, being bullied at school, being picked last in sports, being left on the sideline when it comes to trying to find love, and feeling like nothing they do is ever good enough. Like, it's those kind of things, it's those kind of messages that we need to start digging into, because if we can provide assistance and add value on these things, and we can start to give them start to show people the what, not the how. If we can show people the what, as in how to start to, what you need to do to fix it, but not necessarily the small detail of the how, well, some very resourceful people are going to take that what, they're going to go do their own research, they're going to go learn how to do it, and then they're going to go fix it for themselves. But for those people that either don't have the resource, the time, the ability to do that, the alternative is to come to somebody to help them, because a coach shortens the time. That's what coach is there for. Like, we don't have secret powers as coaches, but we have the ability to fix problems. And I think it's important to understand. And I came into coaching very much, I was scared to death about putting too much value out into the marketplace and people just going and doing it themselves. You are always going to get people doing that, because there's always going to be somebody who's going to put too much information out there. And you can piece together a lot of what you need just by going out into the marketplace. But it's a false economy, because if you think of the amount of time it takes, the amount of people I speak to on the business side who are like, yeah, I follow an awful lot of people. I get lots of free stuff from left, right, and center. I've been doing it for the last 2-3 years, piecing bits together, and we're slowly moving forward. And yeah, I'm nearly at a couple of grand now in revenue. Good on you for doing it yourself. But how much money have you lost? Like, if you'd have just gone and invested in a coach who could have helped you learn all this stuff in one place and speeded up your time, Well, you right now, you'd be earning 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 grand a month. Instead, you're earning 1 or 2 grand because your ego gets in the way. And it's no different with a fitness client. The ego gets in the way. If I can do it myself, losing weight's easy. Well, if losing weight's easy, why are you not at your goal weight already? And that's a question that I ask when I'm on a consultation call with people, because you get the pushback. Yeah, well, losing weight's easy. I know how to do it. Why haven't you done it then? I don't know. Well, if you don't know why you've not done it, let's see if we can figure that out, because it's about understanding the things that get in the way. Like doing something one time isn't necessarily difficult. Repeating it and doing it over and over again and remaining consistent with it, that's when the challenges come in. So we need to make sure we get really into the head of the ideal client. What humiliates your ideal client? What's the cost to them of staying where they are? What's the cost to them and to their family and to the people they love of them not achieving their goal? How many more times are they going to try and fail? Like, what is it going to cost them physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially? Because there's lots of studies, and obviously because this is specifically for PTs and fitness, like I'm relating it directly back to that. But there's lots of statistics out there, and they've done quite a few studies that actually show hiring managers subconsciously, because you obviously can't consciously discriminate, but subconsciously, for some reason, select the slimmer and more attractive people for positions generally. So you're missing out on a promotion. You're missing out on furthering your career. Maybe it's your confidence holding you back as well. So it's not just a case of you want to look good so you can walk around in a pair of board shorts or a bikini. Now it's a case of this is affecting your relationship with your husband or wife. This is affecting your relationship with your kids. You can't play with them properly. Can't run up and down the garden. This is now got to such a point that it's now impacting your life. So you have to make sure that you're really digging into these things. We want to get really clear on the problems. We want to make sure that we understand and we highlight how we can help them. And a good way of doing this, and we need to do the research, like I said, is we need to look at clients we've had in the past. So Facebook's a fantastic place to go onto somebody's profile, look at what they like, and then go to somebody else who's an ideal client and look at what they like. What kind of consistencies can you see? And there used to be a fantastic tool that allowed you, it was an extension tool that you could get onto Chrome, which would allow you to start digging up lots of information on people's profiles. With Facebook's changes with transparency, that's no longer an option. Audience Insight's a great tool if you know how to use it properly, which again is something I go through with clients, but Google Trends is also a really good thing to look at. But we want to get clear on exactly what's the age demographic, what's the main gender that we want to work with, are they married, single, divorced, separated, what kind of jobs are they doing? So that you can then start to really drill into, like, where do they like to go on holiday? What kind of cars do they drive? What do they hold valuable? Like, what do they consider important? What are their core values? Are they religious? What political views do they have? We want to go to town on understanding exactly who they are. If we can holistically understand who the person is, then we can really start to get clear on that marketing message. And we need to make sure we understand, like, what's the biggest mistake that your perfect client is making all of the time. Like right now, like, what problem could you solve? What's that biggest problem? And it always comes back to that one problem, one person, one problem, one solution. And this process initially should take 1 to 2 hours to build out a rough idea, which is then going to allow you to isolate the big problem, break it down into maybe 4 steps, possibly 5, depending on how complex it is. So somewhere between 3 and 5 steps to create pillars of a program. So it's about understanding, how do I take this one problem? How do I dissect it into the main areas? Which obviously, if this is a fitness or a weight loss based offer, nutrition is going to play a part in it. Exercise is going to play a part in it. Mindset is probably going to play a part in it. But what else? And also how you package these things are important. People like frameworks and processes, because if you just say, oh yeah, I'll tell you what to eat, it doesn't sound very sexy. It doesn't sound like you necessarily are a professional at what you do. But if you can package it up as a process or a framework, it sounds like a tried and tested thing, something that works every time. And it's about understanding, how do you get clear on these things? And you need to do the research. Like, the research is so important. And that's something that I think is really, really important. And I can't stress that enough. You need to do this as a working document. And for people inside of my program, this is the first thing we do. We identify your ideal client, we build your offer before we do anything else. There's two real key components with supporting worksheets and training videos that we go through to make sure you're clear on it. Then I'll review them with you. We'll talk about it. At the end of the day, this is your business and it's your offer, but I want to be able to play devil's advocate and try and look at it from other perspectives, having like knowing what works, taking what you see as your main value and trying to gel the two of them together. This is something that's really, really important that you get it nailed on, ideally first time, because it saves you going back and needing to do it. And as I said earlier on, you need to lean into the fear, but you need to be also consistent with your action. Like, we're not looking for perfection, because if you're able to be perfect, you're probably not pushing yourself that hard. We want to take messy action, like really messy action. Just roll your sleeves up, just go out there, just go get stuff done. Like, going to be doing stuff. Some of it's not going to be 100% right. Sure, there's probably loads of stuff on this webinar right now that I'm doing, this presentation on Facebook, that I could probably do differently. And that something that I'll learn from and move forward with. But it's about going out there and doing this rather than going, oh yeah, well, you know, should have probably done a bit more preparation on my notes. Oh, I'll just do it another time. I just won't do the live tonight. Like, I've gone out there, I've done it. And it's about, you need to do the same. Just go out there, take massive levels of messy action. And then once you start to find what works, repeat it. Repeat the things that work. This is something that people don't want to do. Sometimes people are too clever. Like, they try and find other things to do rather than repeat the thing that works. It's like, I did that and it worked. Yeah, I'm just seeing what else I can find that works. No. Do that thing that works. Like, keep doing that thing that works. As long as it's a sustainable thing, keep doing it. And maybe then start to add something else to it, but keep doing the thing that works, especially with marketing. Find that post, that style of posting that works for you, that connects with your audience, that you get the most likes on, the most comments on. Keep doing that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. If you have any questions, like I say, put them in the comments, and I will come around and get to them. Conscious of time, I've been here 45 minutes so far. Still got a bit of stuff to go through, so I'm going to keep burning through it. It is hot as hell in this office, so let's just keep on rolling forward. So high ticket to low ticket. It's the next thing that I want to talk about. A lot of people logically come into online and they go, I want to launch a low ticket product. And by low ticket, I mean a cheap program. So something like $20 or £20 up to like maybe 80 to 90 pounds. They go, I'm going to do that first. I'm going to go build a program. Thanks, Jerry. You're going to go build a program and then eventually going to go market it. Problem with doing a low ticket program first is you need to look who you're competing against. Low ticket program, the cheap programs, which are the big programs. On the weight loss side of things, Weight Watchers, Slimming World, like all the books that are out there, influencer programs, Beachbody, Les Mills, the local leisure centre, all of these things, they've all got more money than you for marketing. It's a big problem here. You're going to have to work really hard organically to go and find people who want to pay £50 for your program. You're going to actually have to do the same amount of work as somebody who is going to want to pay £800 or £2,000 or £4,000 for your coaching program. Why would you want to go out there and put a program out for £50 that you don't know people want, because you've not pre-sold it, you built the program first because you thought you have to have a polished product to take to market. Okay, I see the logic in it, but I'll get to this in a minute as to why this is the wrong way to do it. You've got no marketing budget, so you're going to have to go and sell hard to go and get this sold. Maybe you're going to go do a free challenge and then push people to it afterwards, and maybe you'll get some sales. Maybe you'll get 10 sales, maybe you'll get 100 sales. Like, you maybe will do okay with it. The problem is that it's a lot of work for a low ticket program when you can put the same amount of work in and generate a multiple X return instead. So the reason I say, because the pushback I'll get just before I go up to high ticket, the pushback I'll get if it's no longer a price problem, it's no longer a case of, okay, well, I want to help the biggest audience possible. I don't want to go and help people with lots of money. I want to help people like me. I grew up in a difficult location, and I want to give back to my community and help people in my community. My response to that is high ticket is still the best way to do that. Like, high ticket allows you to have more time to help more people. So now you don't need to necessarily put a low ticket program together. You can go help people for free if you want, because you're making money at the top end. Oh, well, I don't want to overcharge people. No one said anything about overcharging people. Like, to me, if somebody says high ticket is overcharging people, I believe that person has a bottleneck, and they have a limiting belief with themselves that they don't know their worth. Either that, or they're not very good at what they do. Because if you're good at what you do, having lost over 100 pounds in weight myself, I know how much I would pay for that if somebody could have made it easier for me. If somebody could have said, this is how you're going to do it, and this is how you're going to keep it off for a decade, I'd pay everything I could for that, because it changed my life. It wasn't like I think losing weight might be quite good for people. Like, I know firsthand how differently people treat me now I'm 100 pounds lighter in weight. Like, my life has changed so much just because I lost weight, because my confidence has changed, how I look has changed, like the opportunities that are presented to me have changed. Everything changes. So if you're good at what you do, you deserve to charge what you're worth. And the beauty of high ticket coaching, and even mid ticket to some degree, it allows you to start to leverage time. It allows you to really start to remove those golden handcuffs. You're no longer trading time for money. You're now starting to be able to have your business work for you. You can now plan a holiday and not worry that your business isn't going to, you're not going to make any money that week. So, I don't know what we're going to do. I might lose some clients, because your clients are going to keep on rolling whilst you're away. And once you put a team in place to help support it, well, how are you going to build a team when you're selling programs for £50 until you've sold tens of thousands of them? Like, you've got to be able to understand the logic behind this. So high ticket, yes, we have to go and find specific people who have the wherewithal to afford the program. So yes, that's a barrier to entry. There's ways around it. You can create payment plans. You can create all kinds of different mechanisms to allow people to find ways into your program. It's about building a know, like, and trust. It's about showing a value proposition. You have to be able to demonstrate a value proposition that I can fix a pain. It's no longer a case of, let's go do some press ups and eat some chicken and rice, because that's what we should do. And, you'll look all right if you do that. No one wants to pay lots of money for that. It's about saying, I can change your life. I can show you how to change your life. I can show you how to increase your energy so you can go earn more money at work. I can show you how you can get into the best shape of your life while still eating the foods that you love, which in turn is going to mean that you're not going to feel guilty when you go out for dinner with your family, or you take your wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend out for dinner and you want to have a plate of pasta and a glass of wine. You can sit there, you can enjoy that pasta, knowing that it isn't going to change the end result that we're going to get. You can start to live life on your terms and maximize the enjoyment. And once you lose the weight, the great thing is you're going to keep it off forever. That's the kind of things, they're the dreams we're selling to people, because they're the realities that we can bring. If we have a good skill set and we know what we're good at inside of the fitness niche, like, you can help people achieve this. And sometimes for people, it is going to be a stretch to get into your program, but put it into perspective. If you're charging, say, £1,500 or dollars, depending on where you are in the world and who you're talking to, and that's a very, very average cost for a program. If you're charging £1,500 for a 4-month program, like, that person might struggle to find that money in that moment. But if you spread that result over the next 20 years of their life, it works out to nothing. How much money have they already spent trying to lose weight and have not succeeded? These are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself, because you have to get yourself clear on why high ticket works. Like, you can serve people at a much higher level. You can start to do things that you can't do at a low level. So the kinds of programs you can put together for people. But then the beauty of this is, and the way this is scalable, is that not only do you start to build fantastic revenue very quickly, because all you need is 4 or 5 clients. If you're charging a decent amount of money and you're touching on like 7, 10, 12 grand or more per month in revenue. So you've created a very solid business very quickly with a few clients, which means you can serve them to a much higher level. But the great thing is you can then start to isolate certain aspects of your program, parts of it that are automated, and you can then create a lower level program, a mid-ticket program, or a lower ticket program, which you can then push out to the marketplace. And you don't need that to be a success. You want it to be a success, but it doesn't have to be an overnight success. And you've already built it because it's part of your higher ticket program. You've just isolated a few of the more generic areas of that program, packaged it into a new bundle, and you push that out to the marketplace. So for the people who still want to work with you, who can't afford your high ticket, you provide them something affordable. And this is a method which I used, and I used it organically. I didn't put any money behind it with ads. When coronavirus hit, I isolated parts of my program. I created a lower level program. I pushed it out to my email lists, to my members on Facebook, to people who I'd spoke to in the past who had said flat out that they actually don't have the money available. Maybe I didn't explain the value properly and they could have found the money, or maybe genuinely they didn't have the money. I don't know. But either way, people ripped my arm off for this program, because not only had I cemented myself in my space with the people who followed me, which was only a small following, but the people who followed me saw me as a respected trainer because they saw the results I was getting with people, and they knew how much my programs cost. So when you bring something to market that is cheaper, all of a sudden, people definitely want it. They're like, whoa, I want a slice of that life. Like when you get on an aeroplane, and I don't know if you're like me, like I remember the first time I flew business class, it was awesome. I got a real cup. That was cool. And it's those little things that I don't have a plastic cup. I don't have a cup that looks like it belongs to a 2-year-old or one that's going to go in the bin. I got a real China mug. I got real heavy cutlery. I got this funky little tray that folds out. I got like a nicer TV. The food was actually nice. It didn't look like baby food or vomit. And like, people aspire to these things. I got the upgrade because I bought it last minute and I got it at a discounted rate. Like I didn't pay full price for the upgrade. Like I'm not crazy. And it's only business class. So I still look up to first class and I'm like, oh wow, I wonder what's over there. But you know what? The plane I was on, business class, shared a bar with first class, because they want you to see the other side of the fence. They want you to see that there's even fewer people and more air hostesses. You get more attention. That's how airplane travel works. The further back the plane you go, the more people one person has to serve. The further towards the front you go, so business class, then first class, the more personalized the service you get. So they have less people to look after. And high ticket coaching is no different to that. Like a lot of people, they value time more than they value money. If you can give people time back, that is priceless. You can go earn money anywhere. And for people who are struggling with money, I understand that can be difficult to hear. Like I've been in situations myself in life where I've had no money. And there's been a lot of money-based hurdles I've had to overcome myself to really understand the mindset to get to a place where like I don't feel inferior and I feel like I deserve to be selling this stuff. I value my own worth. I know what I'm capable of delivering to people, and I'm seeing the results in my clients. And that's on both sides, both the business and in the fitness side. Like you have to look introspectively to start off with and understand, is the reason I can't do this, or I feel like I can't do this, is it because I don't really understand my own worth? Do I feel like an imposter? Do I have imposter syndrome? Because there's ways and means to work around those things. But I promise you, if you are looking to find a way to escape the rat race and to build your own business, and you're currently trying to do another job whilst building an online fitness business or any kind of fitness business for that matter, like high ticket is the fastest way to replace your salary. It's the fastest way to serve the widest group of people, because you can isolate your programs and create smaller programs to if you want to sell them, or you can go do good things. You can go help people for free. And there's not a better feeling out there when you speak to somebody who is desperate for your help and you can go and help them. And it feels good, because there's this thing when it comes to sales called the winner's exchange. This is a great thing from some Grant Cardone training that I actually was teaching not that long ago. And the winner's exchange is something where both parties, when you close a sale, both parties feel like a winner. So the person who just bought the thing, so who bought your program, feels like they got a good deal because they feel that the worth of the program, the result that they're going to get from it is bigger than the value that the money they just gave you. And you feel like a winner because the money you just charged, you feel is either in line with or greater than your worth. When you sell something really cheap, or you're desperate to try and give it away because nobody even wants to give you 20 quid for it, like 20 bucks or 20 pounds, you can't even give it away. And then eventually somebody takes it off you and they give you like a tenner, like £10 or $10 for it. You're like, you don't even understand the kind of value you're getting for this. And they're like, yeah, I got a really good deal. So one part of the equation is happy, but you feel, and you might not feel that way at first, but when you do that too many times, you start to feel like, why am I busting my ass doing this every single day? And I'm getting nothing from it. Also, the other great benefit with high ticket, you're going to be working with people who are engaged. They've got skin in the game. There's real money at stake. We're not talking of £5, £10, £20. We've got real money in the game, like a good sum of money. That person is going to show up. That person is going to do what you ask them to do. And if they don't, my God, like, what is wrong with this person? Like, because you've got real money, like big chunks of money invested in the game of making a change. So you're going to get engaged customers. There's nothing worse. And I don't know about anybody watching this, but for me, one of the worst things is working with people who I care more about their goals than them. But there's nothing worse than that. I want my clients to be engaged with their goals more than I am. So there's lots of reasons. So hopefully that goes some way to starting to show the mindset behind it. More than happy to talk about that in more detail with people if they actually want to have a little chat about it and run through any specific questions at any point. Business structure, like just burning through this now, these last few bits, like business structure, and I'll be honest, I learned this the hard way. Like, you want to make sure you've got a good sum of money to one side before you leave your current stable job. So I sold my recruitment business a lot earlier than I should have done. I should have had 12 months worth of money in the bank, like free money that I can just burn through. It doesn't even matter if I don't do anything for a year. Like, that's the approach you need to take. You need to have like a year's worth of money, because then you remove all of the psychological and physical barriers of, man, I need to perform real quick. Like, I need this to keep going in the right direction. And I actually experienced the opposite. So like I said to you at the beginning, we got up to 10 grand a month in the first 3 months. Things were flying. It was great. I'd wanted to leave what I was doing for a long time. I felt trapped in an industry that I'd been in for a long time that I actually didn't enjoy. I didn't like the people. I didn't like the environment. I didn't like the job. Like, it was one of those things that I earned very good money, but I wasn't happy. So that's obviously why I built what I built. Anyway, long story short, I jumped at the quickest opportunity. The problem with that was that, and the thing I'd failed to take into consideration was that when I finished and I stopped earning my salary, I now was relying on my new business to pay my salary, to keep the same standard of living, because mentally, from my perspective, why should my wife and kids suffer because I'm now following my dream? They shouldn't, because that's not going to feel very good. If you see your kids not looking very happy and your wife not looking very happy, you don't feel very happy, you can't pay your mortgage. All these kind of things, they start running through your head. And what happens, you start to lock up on sales calls, because now it's no longer a case of, well, if I sell this, yeah, it's all good. You've got like this mentality of like, yeah, I can get sales, it's all good. If I don't get a sale, I don't get a sale. I'll put them on a follow-up process and it'll come good in the end. I need the sale. I have to sell today because my pipeline isn't as full as it should be. And I've got an opportunity in front of me now to sell. I have to sell right now. And you start to approach the call differently. Think of a golfer, a professional golfer versus an amateur golfer. You get to that final putt, you're about to go win a title, or you're about to do your best round ever. Somebody like Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods, I mean, I don't really know many golfers, but Sergio Garcia, they're going to stand there. They're going to use some training that they've got. They're going to take a deep breath. They're going to be calm as a cucumber, and they're just going to put the ball in, and then they're just going to go raise their hand like golfers do as they walk back to put their club back. You've got the amateurs stood there. They're like, oh my God, just literally just They're my best round of golf ever. Oh my God. If I do this, it's going to be amazing. It's like a 7-yard putt, and it goes wide. Because the mindset starts to change. You tighten up. You all of a sudden go from being in this is just fun, I'm enjoying myself, this is good, I mean, I'm loving the journey, to I have to make this work. You go from abundance to scarcity. So when it comes to business structure, you need to make sure you got a good chunk of money. I recommend 12 months worth of money to one side that you can burn. Like, as in, it doesn't matter if you go through it before you take the jump. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to hear, because that's a lot of money potentially. But like your core bills, make sure you've got a year's worth to jump over. You want to make sure that as you grow the business, so you're starting it organically, so it's free. It's free to start with. You don't need to pay for ads. You don't need any money or anything. There's a few bits of software that are useful, but you don't need them until you sell your first client. So pre-sales is something that's really great, because it allows you to go to the marketplace with your idea and say, who wants to buy this idea? Somebody buys the idea, then you build it. So your first customer pays for you to build your program, or your first 2 or 3 customers pay for you to build the program. And some people are like, oh, well, that's immoral. We can't do that because you can't service them immediately. We can put a program together in literally 24, 48 hours, a fully automated program that is going to service people for months. Like, yeah, you got to work real hard. There's going to be a couple of days of late nights, early starts, but you've got it done, and you've not paid for it with anything but the money you've just collected. This is why pre-sales is so important, because it allows you to get your business up and running and do the most important thing: sell. Like, our business, the air, the oxygen our business breathes is money. Like, your business needs money in it, and if it doesn't have money in it, it's not business. And it's not even a charity, because even charities got money in them. It's nothing. It has to have money coming through it. So you want to grow it self-funded. Yeah, you can go to the bank and get a loan if you want and that kind of thing, but you want to self-fund the business. So when you turn ads on, the business needs to be able to fund the ads. You want to use around like 10% of the revenues from the business to fund your ads when you get to that point. And remember, you don't need ads until you're north of 8 to 10 grand. There'll be some people out there who'll say you go 20 grand before you need to turn ads on. And that's the point where I'm at, where I'm now starting to look to turn ads back on. But even then, I'm doing it in a very specific long-term way, so that I've got control of the list. I'm controlling what Facebook's doing. I'm not just asking it to target anybody in a rough demographic. I'm very specific. I want you to take my ideal client that I've just told you. I've uploaded a list of people who match it. Okay, I want you to take this person, go find a lookalike to this, and only this. And then I'll do another sequence where I'll say, okay, here's some content that I'm putting out. Anybody that watches half of this content, I want you to retarget them with my offer. So these people, they start to know you, they hopefully like you, and maybe they start to trust you. But they know, like, and trust you a damn sight more than a complete stranger who's never seen anything from you. And you're like, hey, come watch my webinar. They're like, I don't want to watch 45 minutes of this goon. I don't even know who he is. At least if you can get the people to know, like, and trust you a little bit, you can then be very specific with how you target them. So you want to be really careful with how you grow, but you want to make sure the business supports it. And you want to make sure you've got targets in place, obviously, in order to grow. But this is something that is really important, is that they're not just financial. Okay, so financial targets are what are called lag indicators. So as in, it's something that happens as a result of something else. So we can't directly control the money that comes in. I can't say right now, okay, well, I don't want that to be 1,000. I want that to be 5,000. I have to go do other things to change that number. Those are called lead indicators. So we want our targets and our plans to be based around lead indicators. So things that we can directly control. And I bring lead and lag indicators even into my fitness thing with my clients, in that the lag indicator is the weight loss. The lead indicators is the food they're eating, the exercise they're doing, the water they're drinking, the sleep they're getting. They're things they can directly control. So you want to make sure that you don't focus just on the end result. You want to focus on the process. You want to fall in love with the journey, because the journey is what makes it. Otherwise, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to get to a goal, because you'll keep moving the goal further up. And you're never going to get to it, because you'll keep moving it as you grow. So you have to make sure you love the process. You fall in love with it, because it's a labor of love. Like, this is a business you're building. Like, this is something that's yours. This is something that's going to provide you in life everything you want. And that touches on the next thing, that with regards to goals, you need to make sure that they're not just business based. Have life goals. Like, have goals that for your life that are more important than the business. Yes, you want to earn a good income. We all do. But why? What does that mean to you? What's that going to allow you to do? What does it mean if you don't achieve it? Give yourself some kind of accountability to hold you accountable. Because to start off with, like, manifesting or getting used to or normalizing the idea of earning 10,000 or 20,000 a month, that blows your mind. You can't comprehend it if you're currently earning 1,500 a month or 2,000 or 3,000 a month. Like, you have to normalize these things. You have to understand, what does this now allow me to do that I couldn't do before? How is this going to change my life? How is this going to change the life of others around me? And what happens if I actually don't achieve this? Like, who am I going to let down? How am I going to feel? How do I make sure this doesn't happen? And then, like a mathematician, you want to work it all backwards. You want to understand exactly, how do I get to that number? Not just, I hope and pray that I get to 20,000. Like, how? Like, figure it out specifically. If I charge this much, how many calls do I need? How many appointments do I need to book? How many people do I need to show up? How many people do I need to sell? What is my percentages for all of these? Plan on a worst case scenario. And I know that sounds pessimistic, but if you plan on a worst case scenario, that means you will definitely hit it. And most likely it won't be a worst case scenario, which means that you'll exceed it. Who doesn't want to beat their target? So it's a case of plan on the worst case, because planning on the best case scenario, yeah, it looks good. It looks good on paper and it makes you feel good and it'll boost your ego and stuff. But we don't care about ego. We care about actually hitting the goal. I would rather hit the goal every time and go beyond, rather than, and it be a lofty goal anyway. Like, I'm pushing myself with my goal. I've worked out exactly how I'm going to hit it on a worst case scenario, and then I beat the metrics. Like, you choose the lowest close rate you've ever had, and if you don't have a close rate currently, use an industry standard as your low rate, and then improve. Like, work on these small parts of the process, improve your messaging, and then you'll start to get more appointments without needing so many messages. Then do a sequence and improve your show up rate. Then do something to improve your close rate. Like, keep working through to improve all these small parts. And this is very much what we focus on inside of the program. And we've got nuts and bolts that we can bolt on everywhere to improve all of these different areas inside of the program. And then the last thing, just to finish on, and I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me as we go through it. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Any feedback in the comments would be great. And just to finish on, there's a lot of information to take in tonight, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, there's so much more that we can go through if we had longer, but I appreciate people want to get on with their evenings. I want to go see my wife and I want to sit down because I've been stood up for, I don't know, hour and a half, basically not moved. And like, let's get this wrapped up. So the last thing that I want to leave you with is how to get started right now. Like, I want you to take what we've talked about tonight. I want you to be able to go and apply it right now. And I've got 3 ways for you to be able to go straight out to the marketplace and go and market. So once you've sat there for a little bit, you figured out exactly the problem it is that you solve. You figured out the 3 or 4 areas of what you want to serve your client to fix this problem. Well, now we need to go do the hard work. And this is something, there's 3 ways here. There's an easy way, a medium way, and a harder way. And they're all simple. They're all very simple, but to make them work is either easy, medium, or hard. And I see a lot of adverts on Facebook that play on this. Like, the first way is cold DMs. It's the door-to-door sales of internet marketing. People do not like cold DMs. People don't really like receiving them. People don't really like sending them. But here is the thing. You'll see lots of adverts that tell you, you don't need to do cold DM to build your business. They don't tell you how long it's going to take if you don't do these kind of things. Do you need to do cold DMs? No, you do not need to do them. Is it going to help your business if you do them? Yes. You can go and do cold DMs. You can go to a platform like Instagram. And if you know what you're doing with it, I promise you and guarantee you, and I don't guarantee things lightly, you could go onto Instagram, you can DM somebody. When you get a response from somebody, if you can get somebody engaged, you can sell them almost immediately. So you need to book them on a call, take that call, close them on the call. Sale. Maybe some people say you need a bit of luck. Personally, you just need to run the numbers. Cold DMing at first is a numbers game. It's a hard environment. It's like going into a coal mine and like chipping away at coal. The village I grew up in was famous for the coal mines, a place called the Forest of Dean. It's pictures of miners everywhere, and it was a mining community. And these people used to work their asses off. Cold DM is not fun. You're going to get told no, you're going to get blocked, you're going to get all kinds of stuff. It's no different to cold call sales. It's exactly the same. Difference is you're doing it on a social media platform instead of phoning somebody. There is no difference. Does it work? Of course it works. That's why so many people do it. Is it easy? No. Like, it's a very simple process. You are reaching out to somebody, you are offering them something, and you need to obviously add a few steps in between to build the rapport, build know, like, and trust, make sure you find somebody who's interested. But yes, it absolutely does work. And this is it's a very, very fast way to get conversion if you're good at it, but it is hard. Is it sustainable long term? Individually, I don't believe it is. I think it's something you could do very long term. It would be pretty soul destroying, and you could get teams of people to do it. But the more people come on to do this, the harder this starts to get. So, like I said at the very, very beginning, anything that lasts long isn't easy, and anything that is easy doesn't last long. So this is something you could do long term. You'd want to build a team up to do it, just like a cold call sales team, and you would want to have multiple angles of attack. This works on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I've been successful on all three of those platforms doing this exact method on both sides of my business. It's time consuming. It's organic marketing 101. Like, it's not the best use of time, but it's a very fast way to get sales once you know what you're doing with it. The next thing, which is kind of like a middle ground, and I think this is a good place for a lot of people to start, especially if they don't feel comfortable with the cold DM side of it, because sometimes it's a social thing of that I was told not to bother people. I was told to be nice. I don't really like getting cold DMs. I don't want to upset anybody. So people are very reluctant to do that kind of thing. If you can't get clarity on doing something, in my opinion, you're better to find something else to start with and accept that there's going to be a slightly different outcome. So I feel that group messages, like groups, are a great thing for most people. It's a medium difficulty and it's a medium speed. So it isn't as fast as DM if you're good at DMs, but it's faster than cold DMs if you're terrible at messaging people. So what you do, this is a value first approach. This is a purpose driven way. And this is one that gels very well with 90% of people. We are trying to find communities where our ideal client is. So from a linear perspective, a lot of people will say, okay, I'll go to a weight loss group. They're saturated with coaches in there. You ideally want to try and think beyond that. And this is why I say the research side of it's so important, because we need to know who our ideal client is so we can go and market to them in other places. Inside of groups, you can't go into somebody else's group and spam. If you can go into that group and put an offer in there, it's not a very good group. There's probably not very many real people in there. There's just lots of people trying to sell you weight loss tea and lead gen strategies. So you want to find a group where it's a real community, and you want to go into that community as you. You want to go and add value to that community. You want to go find things in the comments, and you want to comment on people's problems and provide assistance. It doesn't have to directly be related to weight loss. Think of all the tangibles that we spoke about this evening of how you solving problems starts to fix other parts of people's lives. Go and add value, attract attention. Those people that look at your post and like it, some of them are going to go and look at your profile. Anybody who likes your stuff, add them into your environment. Invite them to come and look at your stuff. Come look at my stuff. Like, anyone who comments on any posts you put in a group, make sure you respond to them. Give them some love. Try and have a conversation with them. Invite them to your stuff. And you're going to build up a momentum with people. At that point, you want to start trying to engage with them. Some of them are going to want to have conversations. Some of them are not, which then leads to the branch in the journey. So either you're then going to message them, talk to them, convert them as a sale, or you're going to take the third route, which is the easiest of all routes, but the very slowest. It's the easiest, it's the nicest, it's the road with the least resistance, but it's also the route that's going to take you the longest if you don't already have a big following. And this is a really important distinction. You're going to get somebody who takes this approach where they use just their profile and their own group, and they already have a big following. They're going to go, yeah, like I created a following. No, they're not going to mention that. They're going to go, I decided to create an online business. And the moment I went live with my online business, I just used my profile in my group and I was making tens of thousands immediately. You then look at it, they've got a blue tick, they've got tens of thousands, if not millions of followers. Of course they can monetize that easily because they've got the volume. If you were like you or me, when I started, I think I had 300 friends on Facebook. Most of them I went to school with or grew up with. They don't want to buy my stuff. And if any of them are on here, thanks for watching. But what I would say is if you want to do this very slowly, you don't want to challenge yourself, you don't want to grow by going and doing these things that might feel a bit uncomfortable to start off with. You want to create your own Facebook group and you want to build your own community. And then you want to use your own personal profile as well to start with. And the reason I say a personal profile rather than a business page is because if you have a business page, which is important when you're running ads because you need to attach it to something, but Facebook identifies it as a business and goes, oh, if they want eyeballs on them, they can pay for it. A personal profile is what Facebook was originally set up for engagement, for socializing. Use your personal side so that you can get free traffic. You want to start reaching out to people in your messages because then your content's going to show up on their feeds because Facebook's algorithm goes, oh, these people have been having a conversation. I'll show them their latest post. That's how the algorithm works. But it's a very slow process. If you are only going to rely on your page and your group, unless you already have big numbers in there, this is going to be a long-term thing. I don't want to try and sell anyone a dream of, oh yeah, just use your own profile and your own group and you'll make sales all day long. We can pick up some low-hanging fruit probably. So we can make some quick conversions from the people in your environment already because we want to start with that power list, the people closest to us. But that's only a quick win. That's not longevity. Longevity comes from building over time. Facebook puts in place limits. Instagram puts in place limits. LinkedIn puts in place limits. How many people you can add every day. So you can't just go and add 3,000 people. If you don't use Facebook much, you can add 40 people if you're lucky a day until it starts to get used to it. And then it'll let you add a few more. So this takes time by just growing your page. Personally, I think a good approach is a mixture of all three. But you can go and start doing these things today, right now, if you wanted to. Like, I know it's late in the UK, it's nearly 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. Probably you got better things to do than go build a business. Maybe not. I know it's something that I'm massively passionate about. That's why I'm here with you guys sharing all this stuff. So from my point of view, this is how we can get started now. Go nail on that offer. Go identify your ideal client and go and start marketing. Go do some DMs. Go find people in communities. Go search people using the research that you've done. Go search for people. Use the keywords in the search bar at the top. Put a post up on your profile. You can go and make money right now. The only thing stopping you from doing it is you. If I can do it, somebody who had no following, somebody who was completely from a different industry, I had drive, I had passion, I had hard work, and I worked my bollocks off. And I continue to work hard every day to build my business. But it's my business and it serves me. So when I decide I don't want to work hard and I want to go and spend time with my children, or I want to take my wife out, or we want to go to New York for the weekend, we want to go experience life. That's what we go and do. It's been my pleasure, guys. One thing that I would like to do before I wrap up, for anybody that's found this useful, I would love for you to reach out to me in the DMs, drop me a message, and I would love to have a little chat with you. I'd love to get you on a call. Let's have a little chat about your situation specifically. Let's see what value we can add to you. Let's see if we can talk through potentially this ideal client situation. If you're struggling to just bring it to life, we've got some worksheets that we can go through, and we can really start to look at how can we build something for you? How can we make sure that you get the quickest path to success possible? If business coaching is something that you think may be of interest, then obviously we can discuss that at a time when it works. But right now, I just want to talk to you about how you get started. I want to add some value directly to you above and beyond what you've had in this video tonight. So reach out to me in either comment below if you want me to reach out to you, or just drop me a message. Obviously, my diary fills up quickly. We're having roughly somewhere between 5 and 12 calls per day. So my diary fills up really quickly because I can only take so many calls a day. So jump on, drop me a message. Let's get a call booked in. And like I say, this replay is going to be up for 24 hours. So at 9 p.m. Sunday evening, UK time tomorrow, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time, this video will be pulled down and it will be removed. So please make sure you take what you can from it. We were going to package this video up and we were going to sell this video because it is loaded with value. It's been my pleasure, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. And I will see you all again soon and look forward to speaking to you all on Messenger. Take care, guys.